favourite ads from the leaderboards for Jan, Feb and March was actually the J-Hus thing for Beats.
Did you see what I done? Came in a black Benz, left in the white one.
I loved it, which is a surprise because I'm not a massive music fan, but it felt really true and authentic, and it felt like something that people would actually want to go and look at of their own choice. And that, I think, is part of the joy of the format. You can do something which is 5 minutes long, it's like a documentary, and people can get super into it.
My favourite was the Apple stuff, actually.
Only one more night in Los Angeles. I really thought that I can handle it.
The shape of that idea as an entertainment property, you know, and what they made happen, I think was ambitious. It's a really conventional shaped idea, I know that, but I kind of feel like there's a lot of brands getting torn between scale and cool. And I think they're starting to do that right, and I think there's a bit of a drumbeat coming from them that just feels modern. And also the content around it that lives on the platform, you know, the way that they unlock that production process, seeing what they actually made in camera and what they didn't make as an extension of it. And I know that's not judging it in its finite form, but I think that's how you digest content on YouTube. So I think that both of those shared a similarity in that they were sympathetic to the artist, but did something bigger with them. Those two bits of work, I think, do that other thing which not enough people talk about on the platform, which is they leave you hungry for more of it, right? So they create an insatiable desire for a bit more of it, a bit of a deeper experience. And that is the one thing that YouTube can offer if you get it right, is you can go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And
you could see some of the others, the Specsavers thing with the Jason Shutter, the comedy thing, a number of episodes of it. So if you're into it, it's actually like creating a proper piece of programming, and people can go back and go back and go back.
I think that YouTube's made advertising better. We have to get our heads around the fact that people do not like the majority of what we make. They want to skip us. How many other industries are being skipped? Now there is a button, there is a totem, there is an image and an icon. Almost start with that and ask yourself how you're either adding to the world, you're fixing a problem, you're fueling a passion. You can enrage people. You can wind them up, whatever it is, just make sure that that button is something you don't fall foul of.
I think there's something else too, which is totally related to that, but it's intimacy. And I think quite often brands really shy away from that. But for some brands and some occasions, that's really exciting as well. Because it's a main line to kind of, right, we're not going to be that distant thing over here, we're going to be right up next to you. So my inclination is that it does tend to be those direct-to-consumer brands that have a really direct relationship, and they're the ones that are using platforms like YouTube really well. And Everlane, absolutely one of those brands. Here's our factories, here's what we're doing, and they get all that behind the scenes content, and they have a totally direct relationship.
Look at the amount of things happening in culture in the world right now, the amount of conversations and the amount of answers people are asking for, and yet there is a sense of safety around film still, and I wish we just made it more dangerous again and more powerful.
Yeah, cultural tensions are a brilliant place to play, and YouTube's a brilliant place for that, because a lot of what's going on in culture happens there.
I really love the Lebresse work that came out earlier this year, right? And it's like, that for me is an example of one of those bits of work that does say, okay, how are we going to ruffle feathers, and I'm going to create imagery you've not seen before.
Yeah.
You know, genuinely taking on a very sensitive and very, you know, everyone had sort of tiptoed around that category for years. It was just, I just thought it was amazing as a piece of film and as a conversation. I remember seeing everybody finding their own way into that idea. And the other reason, though, I think YouTube's made advertising better is it's proof that we can experiment and fail, right? It's a sandpit. And I think if you just look at YouTube and how it inspires creativity with all of the stuff that's come around, something new comes out, a new format of film or a new grade or even a new approach, you suddenly see brands clamoring to imitate it. So I think the other thing YouTube's doing is it's speeding up the shelf life.
The cycle of,
of creativity,
think that's true.
which is dangerous but also really inspiring. Like, you've got to get on it and you've got to be in it as it happens. You know, all of the best work I've made, or, you know, even together we've made, I think has been a result of a load of partnerships. It's been a result of working with brilliant people, whether they're design groups, innovators, opinion formers, celebrities, whatever. And I don't see enough genuine partnership happening between influencers or channels that exist on the YouTube channel from brands to make something really original. And if you start from the ground up and do that, that's a really powerful place to play.